So I wanted to do a video on what it costs to run a classic car. As you all know, I've got a few. They don't do a lot of miles, but especially in England, you still need to get MOTs, road tax, obviously servicing, maintenance, things like that, fuel. It's all an ongoing running cost. Now, when it comes to the legal side of things like MOT, tax, insurance, insurance is very, very cheap. I think it's because classic car insurance companies expect you to look after your cars. So you're not going to go around, you're not going to join the Morrison's Massive or go down Mackie D's on a Thursday and chuck a couple of dinner trays underneath your back wheels and go skidding around the car park. Any cars over, I think it's 40 years in the UK are MOT exempt. However, things like my MG Midget, when they're modified, there's a point system which I'm not going to get into in this video, but my MG Midget is not MOT exempt, so this thing still needs an MOT. As far as tax is concerned though, it is free road tax for the same reasons, because of its age. If you've got what I would class as a modern classic, something from the 90s though, you still need MOT and insurance. So MOT anywhere from probably 25-30 quid to 54-85, which is currently the maximum a garage can charge for an MOT. And tax, annoyingly, is I think best part of £300 at the time of recording this, possibly a little bit more. My Golf, for example, is a 1998, I class as a future classic, and the tax, I think last time I taxed it was £285. 285 quid for a car that does a few hundred miles a year. Now if we go on to running costs, things like fuel, my Midget and the Morris Minor, they both do around 35-40 miles per gallon, which actually isn't too bad. It's not too bad. But if you get a modern plastic car like that Suzuki Swift that I'll use as an example, it just drove past, I think they do normally more 50-ish miles per gallon. So a little bit of a compromise, but you know, do you really want to be driving a plastic car? Obviously you've got your hybrids and your electric cars nowadays as well that do a bit more. My brother's just bought a Hyundai hybrid of some kind, and he's claiming about 65-70 miles per gallon from that on a long journey. So you know, there are better cars fuel consumption wise out there, and obviously those cars you still have to pay for an MOT, but the tax is a lot cheaper. Some of them are like £20-30, that's if you don't get one that's free. Now, what else have we got? Maintenance. Maintenance is a good one, and I think it's actually pretty even. Okay, a lot of classic car parts aren't in production, but a lot of companies, you normally find specialist companies for your brand of classic car, and they will have new old stock, so the prices aren't too bad. And the cars that we service at my work, in my day job, the parts prices, oil filters, air filters for example, tend to be about the same. I mean, even wear and tear items, brake discs, brake pads, tyres, they all seem to be around the same kind of ballpark. Tyres can be an interesting one though. If you've got cross-ply and you want to keep cross-ply on, you can be looking £100 plus per tyre. So that is something to bear in mind. But then again, if you want to put a Michelin on something modern, then you're going to be looking about the same anyway. So yeah, again, that could be quite an even balance. One of the biggest costs to bear in mind for classic cars is actually the maintenance of the bodywork. Now, a lot of modern cars are plastic, aluminium, things like that. Make them lighter, increase their fuel consumption. Whereas things like, again, I use my example, the Midget, actually in fact the Midget, the Golf, the Morris Minor, the Pontiac, they're all made of steel. Proper old school, heavy, rusty steel. And that's the problem. If you've got a modern car, you could leave it outside all year long and you probably won't notice any deterioration in bodywork at all. Classic cars, on the other hand, you're going to end up with rust. So storage of your classic overnight can be quite costly. If you don't have a garage, then you're going to be looking at renting a garage that can be £100 a month upwards. And even then, that's, you know, assuming that the landlord keeps it watertight. I had one of my old cars I had to keep, had no roof, a bit like this, and I had to keep that in a garage, paying £70 a month, but it was like 10 years ago. And that garage wasn't watertight. Going back to servicing, is the fact that service intervals for a lot of classic cars are sort of 3,000 miles or less. Your modern cars, especially the newer ones, can be 20, 25,000 miles in between services. I don't recommend that. That's what the manufacturers recommend, but you know, oil still deteriorates. I wouldn't want to be leaving any of my cars that long without servicing. Just my little bit in there. But as far as cost goes, that's kind of it. I think, in my personal opinion, the balance of miles per gallon versus, well, I say miles per gallon, it's not even miles per gallon. The balance of the cost versus the enjoyment of driving a classic car. I'll have the classic car any day. They're just a joy. They have character, something that modern cars don't have, and they fall apart in your hand. Well, thanks for watching. Bit of a different video, but if you have any comments or anything you want to add on the costs of running a classic car, do put them in the comments below and I will respond to them gladly. See you next time.